welcome back to the Gardner Leader podcast. Today I'm joined by Julie Taylor from Gardner Leader's employment team. Good afternoon, Julie.
Hi, Andrew.
Today we're going to talk about redundancies, obviously a bit of a hot topic at the moment. In terms of the process, how would that start? Let's say you suddenly are at risk of being made redundant. What would happen next?
Okay. Unfortunately, it is becoming a little bit more topical at the moment. But the first stage in the process is for the employer to notify the employees that it thinks are going to be affected by redundancies, that there is a risk they might need to make the decision and make some roles redundant. Redundancy is actually a statutory definition, and it applies to a particular set of circumstances. And the most common at the moment is where there might be a reduced requirement of a particular type of work. So from identifying that there is a redundancy situation, the employer would need to look at the group of employees that are affected by that, notify them of the risk, and then go through a selection exercise, identifying particular pools for redundancy or going through scoring to then identify the roles that might be provisionally selected for redundancy.
Okay, and is there a consultation process following that?
Yes, of course. So once the roles that have been provisionally selected have been identified, you would then get into a consultation process with those particular employees. Depending on the numbers affected, there might be a group consultation, there might be a need to elect representatives, but if it's a small number of redundancies, then the consultation will be done on an individual basis. And the consultation is actually really important. It's the employee's opportunity to put forward any alternatives to the redundancy, as well as the employer investigating whether there's any prospect of alternative employment for them within the organisation. But I always encourage people to think outside the box for that as well. So perhaps you've been thinking that it might be really nice to have Fridays off for a while, but haven't really found it's been the right time to ask. If there are 4 of you doing the same type of job, it could be worth proposing that actually, instead of redundancies, maybe discussion should be had about whether people want to change to part-time hours. Of course, it won't suit everybody, and there will be people who aren't willing, or that won't solve the problem, but the consultation is your opportunity to put forward all these different ideas and options and ways to avoid it. A sabbatical might be something else to think about. If you wanted to take some time out, it might be an opportunity to delay the redundancy until you've had a period of time out and see if actually things have picked up when you want to return to work after that. Again, it won't see everybody because it will have consequences on pay, but it's any idea is a good idea in the consultation process.
Sure. And if you are unfortunate enough to be made redundant, is there an appeal process that's available?
Yes. So once they go through the redundancy process, the final stages will be a meeting to confirm it, and the final decision should be confirmed in writing as well. The entitlement would be to a statutory redundancy payment, which you can calculate your own on the gov.uk website. There's a really easy to use calculator there. You'd also be entitled to either work or be paid in lieu of your notice, and any accrued but untaken holiday as well. And then alongside that, you can be given a right of appeal against the decision. There's some debate about whether technically that's required under the ACAS processes, but I would always advise my employers to offer a right to appeal.
Okay, Julie. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and the advice is very much appreciated.
All right, it's a pleasure. Thank you.